Hi, Gary Thomson here with Century 21 Thompson and Company. Today we have the lovely Bernadette Rugg with us, who I worked with at a former company for a very long time. And I do consider her to be one of my mentors when I was younger in the business. And honestly, she taught me a lot when I was just a young new agent. So Bernadette worked at a different company for a long, long time. And we begged and pleaded, and she eventually made the switch to our company. So everyone, this is Bernadette Rugg.
Hi all, this is Bernadette Rugg, and yes, they tried a long time, but I am thrilled to be with Century 21. It's an entirely different atmosphere, and even though I've been in the business a long time, it's fun again. And to be in this business, you need it to be fun.
Yeah, and honestly, part of what we do as a company is we encourage the agents to come in as often as they can, and Bernadette is definitely in the office a lot. I mean, I remember from the old days, that's all we did. Everybody went into the office, and a lot of brokerages these days don't really have that, and so it's nice to see everybody coming into the office every day again.
And that's what I missed. The old office, it completely, of course, COVID affected it, but no one was there, so you couldn't share ideas. And that's what I love about being at Century 21. We share ideas, and as many years as I've been in the business, I'm learning things every day from all the new young people. It's amazing. I mean, it's a whole new world out there, and you have to take advantage of the changes that are in place. You continue to be who you are as an agent, but you pick up new things from all these young people. It's energizing.
Yeah, and honestly, going back to the good old days, I remember just sitting in the office and I would listen to you and Maureen and the Tony Master Paulos just on the phone with people. And it was I learned so much from just listening as a new agent. So I think a lot of the new agents now, I know Brittany is always listening to what you have to say,
Yeah.
and River and I interviewed an agent today, and one of the things we told her was when you're around the office, you gotta you hear certain people talking, and you can pick up a lot by that. So I'm happy to kind of implement that from the old school to our company.
And that's a gift. It's something to feel, because again, I mean, this can be a difficult business, and sometimes you're not appreciated, whether it be by the buyer or the seller. But in this office, people do listen, and to feel as if you're empowering a young agent to do what is necessary makes the old agent feel really good about it.
Yeah. And so let me ask you a question about, I know the journey we've had as far as us courting you, let's say. And,
Yes.
yeah, which started quite a while ago, but and I think a lot of what River and I and Maureen, we like the agents that also that have been in the business and have things to offer the younger agents. Like Tony, for example, when Tony came, I'm like, I know you're not doing much anymore, but if you can come in every once in a while, the agents can learn a lot, from you. And he is from the old school. And I think what's nice about people like us and Maureen and Norma Walling and, the old school agents that we have in our office is they have a blend of business from the old school and new, and what's going on with, the current market. And, because there's changes every day in real estate, not only in laws and stuff like that, but also with the way we conduct our business.
Well, that's another thing that I love about Century 21. Every Friday they have a lunch and learn, and it's amazing. I mean, every Friday they bring in these new people. We just brought somebody in from Middletown, and you learn. And these are the things that you need to know, so you're the one giving the knowledge, because these young buyers think they know it all. They get it off from the Google and what have you, and they still need us.
Yes.
And that's what we have to make sure they understand, because yes, they can get information off of the internet, but we're the final figure. We know locations, we know areas, we know all the new rules and regulations. And with the training that happens, believe it or not, at Century 21, even an old timer like me has the knowledge that I can impart to all these other people.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Like you said, lunch and learn. We had the arborist from town.
Yeah.
I just used that literally this morning. I had coffee with a guy who's going to be selling his house in Oak Hill, and we were talking about, different things, and Oak Hill, as you know, has monstrous
Trees,
trees,
yes.
and so I was explaining to him, about the new mandates, and it was funny because he was like, wow, he's like, I really didn't know that, because one of the things that a seller may do to get their house ready is to, take some trees down and open it up and like things like that. So it was an interesting conversation. So yeah, lunch and learns are very informative.
Well, that's the whole thing, and the good thing is we're learning it before anybody else does. So we are the bearer of information, which very often, sometimes, as I said, they think that they know it all, but they don't.
Yeah, and we can thank, what, honestly, we can thank Maria for that.
I know. I know. She's great.
She's amazing. I mean, the whole lunch and learn like curriculum, we'll call it maybe, or whatever, is she tries to make it interesting, and it's not always, the same, boring stuff. And she does expand to different areas of, not just like trees and real estate. They don't necessarily go together.
Yeah.
But the information that we learned last Friday was critical to a seller that's considering removing trees, or a new buyer that's saying, I'm going to come in here and rip out 30 trees in my backyard. And then we can say, wait, you may want to think about that, because there's going to be a hefty fee that you would need to pay to take down a healthy tree. So,
well, that's it too. I mean, whether it's lunch and learn or masterminders or what, something is always going on in this office, and that's, for me, just it brings energy back into a difficult career.
Yeah, like tomorrow morning, our top producer mastermind.
Yeah.
That's a great small mastermind session that I look forward to every week. It's wonderful. And, to have you there to offer, Stacy's, offering there, Tony Ann, who is a newer agent, but she's kicking ass right now,
Yeah.
and she's working. So she has a lot to offer, with stuff like that.
And that's another thing about this office, guys. I mean, there's open conversations. I mean, it's great. Nobody holds on to this information. Like, there are some offices, I won't name them, where they lock the door and they, make sure that nothing you're doing is informational to that other person. That's not true within the organization.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
We don't have to
it's a
put
sharing.
locks. We don't have to put locks on things.
No,
and,
it's a sharing of information, which, again, in this business, that's who we are. We need to be the bearer of information so that the person that comes to us understands.
Yeah, and I remember we had an agent come, and she was talking about a listing appointment she was going on, and I said, well, what's the address? And she was
afraid to give it.
I'm like, I'm on your side. Do you really think I'm going to take that address and go knock on her door? Like, come on. So people come from other places where things are very, very different. And you got to hold it sacred, and you can't share. That is one of the things I really love, is the way we share with each other.
Absolutely.
And it helps us as agents ourselves, as a company, and it helps us grow.
No question. And, again, the learning is what I need, because, I've been doing it 37 years, but there are things that I need to learn.
Learning. Certain things. But, like, for example, we're the same people.
We are,
talk
guys.
about that all the time. Like, our memory for houses, but we can't remember somebody's name in 5 minutes after we meet them, but we can remember a house from 20 years ago and who the listing agent was,
what
and
is
stuff
that?
like that. Well, Maureen has the gift too.
Yeah.
Like, some of us, Tony does too.
Does he?
Yeah, maybe it was an old school thing. I don't know. But, stuff like that is stuff you can't really teach.
Right.
But where I think we're going to help you and have helped you is implementing, the other stuff, the keeping in touch with your past clients and like things like that. And you're great, because I know you make the phone calls and you make sure your old clients don't forget about you. And that is something that I want to implement for the newer agents coming in.
Right.
With every closing client that you have, you can't forget about them. It can't be like they're over, because that's going to be the person that is going to say, I had such a wonderful experience with Bernadette. They're going to refer you to their friends and family for life.
Absolutely.
But you can't let them forget that you're in the business, which I know you're great at.
Well, and with that said, we had a little meeting where Maureen and I spoke to some of the younger people, and the younger people are so used to doing the texting and the emailing, and I am pick up the phone. Now, I do bow to what they want, and I'll ask them, how do you want us to communicate? But I think it's so important to, at some point through the process, have conversations.
Well, yeah, because what you can get accomplished on a 30-second phone call,
Absolutely.
would take 10, 15 minutes of texting. So
Back
it's
and
like,
forth.
just pick up the damn phone,
Oh,
I know.
I'm on board.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about, because you were at the same company for a very, very long time.
Almost
So,
my entire career.
yeah. So what was the transition like when you left there and came to us?
It was so easy. I can't. I really can't say enough about everybody at Century 21. Now, I planted my rear end for about 30 years and never thought that I was going to move. And then I finally said, you know what? It's the next era. Let's learn. Gary would always say, we're going to have you work smarter, not harder. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So the transition was easy.
Yeah.
It was like there was not even a hiccup.
Yeah, and I think, and I hear it all the time, and I feel it, and I've been through it as well because I've only been in 3 companies really,
Right.
But the idea of the transition and how that's going to work and new business cards and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
and it's not as like it's not as hard as everybody thinks it
Yeah,
is.
don't make it hard. Don't
And
don't
what did
make
I
it.
tell you? Like even like the agents that are moving from one company, it's an excuse to reach out to every single client
Absolutely.
and friend and sphere of influence. Hey, I just started at a new company and I'm really excited about it. I want to ramp up my business, and they gave me some things to do. And part of it was making the announcement to all my friends and family and past clients that I switched companies.
Which is a great way to stir the pot, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah,
And
you start conversations again, and you know
yeah.
what? These are people they want to hear from you.
Right.
Because I know you, like me, any past clients that I had, they love hearing from us. So that's really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they become friends.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
how many friends can you have over the years? But they do, and they trust us, and that's what we need. I mean, that's what's necessary in real estate.
Now, as far as I want to ask you a question about, so in your transition here, like, what do you feel was like you would, credit like how was our support?
Super.
As far as like, we have Joe and we have Hope and we have, Gina and we have, Maria, River, me, Maureen, like, has any of that been like problematic, or was there any like, hiccups in that process?
And honestly, I mean, I don't transition well, and I don't, there's so many things to learn, but there is somebody there to help you no matter what. And it's not like you have to wait a week to talk to somebody. All you do is go into their room and ask a question, and it's answered right away, or they'll sit down with you, which I love, because
It's
that's
nice always having
somebody
around.
there, a support person always there.
And that's funny because that's the kind of stuff that I love when the agents are like, do you have a minute? I have like a situation or something like
Well,
that.
you're great.
Well, to me, it's like, oh, good. This is a good opportunity where somebody's coming to me with a situation that they have.
Right.
And these are some suggestions on how to deal with it.
Right.
And that's the kind of stuff we signed up for when we, opened a brokerage.
Well,
was doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's because it's an open office and people move through, you can even learn or listen as you're sharing. Like, believe it or not, he just sat down with me and did a market analysis after all these years, because years ago, all I would do is look at the house and say, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's not good anymore. Now you need to sit down and have all the information. And Gary just helped me with it, which was great.
And you know what? It's like I used to be the same way, where it was like, all right, I know what your house should be priced
Right.
at because I looked at all the other houses that are around it that you're going to be competing against, and really, to me, that's what sets market value. But the science part of it, now more than ever, those sellers want the science.
Absolutely.
And that's why when I do give a market analysis to someone, I say, listen, this is the science, and this is what the number for the science says. But my gut, based on what's out there right now, competing properties is X,
Right.
and that's what sets market value. Not this house closed 3 months ago or this house closed, stuff like that. So, yeah, and we're going to have you doing more of those.
Yes, we need to do more of that.
Well, you know what? And that's why, like, when we did our CMA a day like thing at the beginning of the year, that's the purpose of that is, all right, it's January. So let's start getting really proficient at doing the CMAs. So when somebody asks you to do a CMA,
It'll be a piece of
boom,
cake.
you know, it doesn't take an hour or 2 hours.
Exactly.
You know, and it could be quick. Even some of your past clients, like, they probably have no idea that their house is worth 20% more than they think.
Probably right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So,
exactly.
you know, doing the CMAs and just, you know, sending it to them, you don't even have to call it a CMA. You can call it an assessment report, an equity assessment report or something like that, just to let them know that these are, you know, I'm not trying to talk you into selling, but just so you might want to know.
Well, that's it. I mean, what do they say? Information is imperative
Yeah.
with anything, And the more information you give, the more they trust who you are and listen to you.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this. Being that you were, you know, at the same company for so long and then made the transition, what advice would you give? Like, let's say there's somebody out there that, you know, they feel like they're stuck, you know, and we get this a lot. We got it from you, like, you know, and Maureen even, like when we begged and pleaded with Maureen to come with us when we first opened, she was at for over 20 years.
Right,
And
exactly.
you know, and she was like so scared of like, you know, oh my God, I've been here for so long. And, you know, how do I do this or how do I get out?
Yeah.
And I think it's a mindset thing. People get comfortable and they're just happy with the status quo. But you know what? I think they don't realize how much help we give them to make the transition.
Right. What's on the other side? What's with another company?
Yeah.
And that's, you have to just trust. If you're stuck, then you really need to start talking to people. And I would talk to Century 21, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, yeah.
But other people like yourself, like Norma, the same thing. Like
Right.
Norma was for how long before she came over to us. And
Right.
you know what? I'm sure if we, you know, talk to her right now, she would be as happy as you are.
Yep.
You know, definitely. Also, so what surprised you, like, what surprised you the most in a good way about, like, making the switch? Because I know it's a change. It's a huge change. So
I think the new information that I didn't use that needs to be done in today's market, I'm thrilled with.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I would have learned that anyplace else. So it's the changes that are imperative in a career such as ours that helps us to be that realtor. You know, I mean, the given not only the advice and the information, but to be able to package it in such a way that they're comfortable with me and with the company.
yeah. So let me ask you another thing. So, I mean, I'm going on 23, 24 years.
You're a baby.
I know. But you're going on how long?
37, 30, it'll be 38 in September.
So after 37 years, honestly, like, you love what you do. You can tell in the way you conduct yourself and the way you treat your clients. But like, what keeps you like going after all this time in the business, and like, you know, what keeps you excited about, you know, doing real estate still?
Believe it or not, I mean, it's not only the buyers and the sellers. They're great. I mean, I really, they feel like family by the time I'm done. But it's being in a company such as yours that just brings a whole new level of interest and fun. It has to be fun.
Yeah.
It can't be work. You've got to enjoy. I enjoy coming into that office every single day.
We laugh
A
pretty
lot.
regularly over
Yeah,
there. I know.
it's fun.
You missed the earlier part of today. We had a fun time earlier today. Yeah. So and you know, how did our company play the role in, you know, in that part of it? Because I know you're always going to have your clients, no matter what company you're at or things like that. But like being in a company like ours, and in relation to like your clients,
I think that it's young. It's a young company, and it just brings a whole level of energy, as opposed to going any of the other companies that I know are out there. It'd be more of the same, and I didn't want more of the same.
Well, and that's like the other day, like with your listing appointment. Like, how cool was that?
We brought several of the people over, and what a gift that is. I mean, first of all, the seller was like, wow, amazed that even though it's not even on the market yet, I brought several people over to give me ideas and give them ideas. So
Yeah.
it's just that helping hand.
Yeah, and we do that a lot. Like we did it with
Yeah,
my clients over there
absolutely.
on Darty, where they were,
Yeah.
they were ecstatic about like the crew. That he's like, I just thought you were bringing a couple people
Right.
over, and we had like a dozen. So things like that. Like I think River and Maureen, like we will all attest to. The fun part of that is like, hey, let's jump in the car and go look at one of my new listings that's coming up, or like things like that.
In a way, it's new, but it's like the old way,
Yeah.
the old times where
Well,
you
it's-
would caravan to open houses, which was so helpful.
Oh, it was fun.
You shared ideas in that car and you laughed. That was what I missed from the old days that I've got it back.
And that is something that like we really tried to implement in when we first opened the company.
Right.
Was like we want collaboration, and that's why our office spaces were open.
Mm-hmm.
And people would sit at the desk, and there would be 6 people at a desk, and usually it's just the keyboard clacking and the
Right.
text going back and forth when it's dead silent and everybody's working. But then somebody will pop up with an idea and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And that is something that I really love about.
Well, the camaraderie
Yeah,
and the
camaraderie.
sharing, and that is felt every day when I walk through that office. There's never a discomfort. It's about sharing ideas, and even as an old timer, that helps to keep that energy going.
You're a great old timer. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for us. But Bernadette, I do appreciate you coming on camera because I
Thank
know
you.
you stepped out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you did wonderful. You did wonderful. So, guys, Bernadette Rug, she joined us. How long has it been? About a
It's almost,
year?
it'll be a year soon.
year.
Yeah.
So we'll have an anniversary party soon.
Oh, good.
So thank you for
Looking
doing
forward
this
to
today.
it. Thank you. Thank
right.
you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.